New York, a city that never sleeps, could face the unthinkable. A missile so fast, so deadly, it could turn the heart of Manhattan into ashes in just 60 seconds. Russia's Avangard hypersonic weapon isn't just a missile. It's a technological marvel that defies everything we thought we knew about defense. Traveling at Mach 27, it streaks across the sky, unstoppable, unpredictable, and capable of bypassing every system meant to stop it. If no defense on Earth can counter it, what does that mean for the balance of power and our safety? What is the Avangard? Imagine a missile that moves so fast it makes current defense systems look like toys. That's the Avangard, Russia's cutting-edge hypersonic glide missile. If you haven't heard of it yet, you're not alone. It's been making headlines for its mind-boggling speed and almost science fiction-like capabilities. Let me break it down for you in the simplest way possible, so you can understand why this missile is causing such a stir worldwide. First off, the Avangard is no ordinary missile. It's a hypersonic glide vehicle, which means it doesn't just shoot straight like a typical ballistic missile. Instead, it glides and maneuvers through the atmosphere at speeds of up to Mach 27. That's about 12,800 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, it's so fast that it could cross the United States in less than 15 minutes. At these speeds, even the most advanced missile defense systems simply don't stand a chance. By the time radar picks it up, it's already too late to react. The Avangard can carry a nuclear warhead with a yield ranging from 0.8 to 2 megatons. If those numbers don't mean much to you, let me paint a picture. The bomb dropped on Hiroshima during World War II was about 0.015 megatons. So, even at its lowest yield, the Avangard is orders of magnitude more powerful. At its maximum capacity, it could flatten a major city like New York in seconds, leaving nothing but rubble and devastation in its wake. But the Avangard isn't just about speed and power. It's packed with features that make it even more terrifying. For starters, as it streaks through the atmosphere, it generates a plasma cloud around it, with temperatures reaching between 2,900 and 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. This plasma cloud not only makes the missile harder to detect by radar, but also contributes to its incredible speed and agility. And that's where it gets even more impressive. It's not just fast, it's unpredictable. Unlike traditional missiles that follow a set trajectory, the Avangard can maneuver mid-flight, zigzagging its way to the target. This makes it almost impossible to intercept, because even if a defense system somehow tracks it, the Avangard can change course in an instant. What makes the Avangard a true game-changer is its ability to bypass every current missile defense system on the planet. The United States, which boasts some of the most advanced missile defenses in the world, has admitted that it has no effective countermeasure against this kind of weapon. Think about that for a second. A country that spends hundreds of billions of dollars on defense is essentially helpless against the Avangard. Former U.S. President Donald Trump even acknowledged the challenge it poses, calling it a significant threat to American security. So, why is this missile such a big deal? Because it's not just a weapon. It's a statement. It shows that Russia has not only caught up to, but arguably surpassed other military superpowers in the race for hypersonic technology. It forces the rest of the world to rethink their defense strategies and prepare for a future where traditional missile defenses might become obsolete. Why is everyone talking about it? Let's be honest, weapons are rarely described as anything more than tools of destruction. But the Avangard hypersonic missile? It's a whole different story. Russia has gone all out, branding it as the crown jewel of the Russian Empire. That name alone tells you how much pride and significance they've attached to this missile. It's not just another addition to their arsenal, it's their ultimate trump card, the weapon that puts them in a league of their own in modern warfare. What makes the Avangard even more talked about is the reaction from the United States. They've dubbed it Putin's Joker, which is both fitting and chilling. It's like the wild card in a game of global defense strategies, capable of upending everything the U.S. thought it knew about security. Even the world's most advanced missile defense systems are powerless against this thing. That's not an exaggeration. It's a fact. At speeds of up to Mach 27, and with its ability to outmaneuver any interceptor, the Avangard has rendered traditional defense strategies nearly useless. If you think about it, this missile isn't just a weapon, it's a direct challenge to the entire concept of missile defense. Now, let's talk about why Russia is so proud of this missile. Over the past decade, they've poured more than 20 trillion rubles into its development. That's not pocket change. It's a massive investment that highlights just how much of a priority this weapon has been for Russia. To put it into perspective, 20 trillion rubles is enough to fund entire national projects or rebuild critical infrastructure. But Russia chose to channel this staggering amount into a single weapon system. That decision speaks volumes about their long-term strategy. The Avangard isn't just a military asset, it's a symbol of Russia's technological and strategic ambitions. But there's another layer to the story. The Avangard is more than a missile. It's a message. It tells the world that Russia is not only keeping up with, but surpassing other superpowers in key areas of military technology. When Russian President Vladimir Putin unveiled the Avangard in 2018, he didn't just announce a new weapon, he announced a new era of global military competition. His message was clear: we've got something you can't defend against. And it's not just talk. The sheer scale of testing and development that went into the Avangard is mind-blowing. It took decades of research, over a dozen major tests, and the refinement of cutting-edge technology to make it a reality. When it finally succeeded in 2018 during a test in the Orenburg region, the world sat up and took notice. This wasn't some experimental project that might be operational years from now. It was ready, and it worked. How does the Avangard work? The Avangard is unlike any weapon the world has ever seen. It operates on principles that sound more like science fiction than military strategy, but the reality is far more fascinating and terrifying. If you've ever wondered how this hypersonic missile can leave even the most advanced defense systems powerless, let me explain it in simple terms. The Avangard isn't just fast, it's hypersonic. That means it travels at speeds greater than 5 times the speed of sound. In the Avangard's case, it can reach an incredible Mach 27, which is about 12,800 miles per hour. Imagine something moving so quickly that by the time you spot it, it's already too late. Missile defense systems, no matter how advanced, rely on detecting a threat early and then intercepting it. But with the Avangard, that window of time is practically non-existent. It can cross continents in minutes, making it nearly impossible for defense systems to even react. The Avangard's destructive power isn't just about the nuclear warhead it carries. It's also about kinetic energy. At such an extreme speed, the missile itself becomes a devastating weapon, even if it's unarmed. Think about it. When something that fast hits a target, the sheer force of the impact is enough to cause catastrophic damage. It's like dropping a meteor on a city. The kinetic energy alone can obliterate buildings, infrastructure, and anything else in its path. This means the Avangard doesn't even need to rely on a nuclear warhead to be a significant threat. Its speed makes it lethal all on its own. But the real genius of the Avangard lies in its unpredictability. Traditional ballistic missiles follow a predictable path or trajectory from launch to target. That's why missile defense systems are designed to intercept them. They know exactly where the missile will be at any given moment. The Avangard, however, plays by its own rules. After it's launched, it detaches from its carrier rocket and starts to glide through the atmosphere. And here's the kicker: it can maneuver mid-flight. It can zigzag, change altitude, and take unexpected turns, making it incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to track or intercept. This ability to maneuver is what sets the Avangard apart from anything else in existence. Even if a defense system manages to lock onto it, the missile can change direction in an instant, leaving interceptors chasing empty air. It's like trying to hit a moving target that can see you coming and dodge out of the way. This unpredictability is a nightmare for military planners because it means no defense system on Earth can reliably counter the Avangard. The test that shocked the world. If there was ever a moment that changed how the world viewed modern warfare, it was the December 2018 test of the Avangard missile. This wasn't just another military exercise. It was Russia announcing to the world that they had officially entered the future of warfare. The test took place at the Dombarovsky base in the Orenburg region, a site already infamous for its high-profile missile launches. But this one was different. This was the test that made the Avangard a household name among military experts and global strategists. Here's what happened. The missile was mounted on an SS-19 Stiletto, a Soviet-era ballistic missile modified to carry the Avangard glide vehicle. Once launched, it traveled an astounding 3,700 miles across Russia, from Dombarovsky to the Kura test range in Kamchatka. The precision of the strike was jaw-dropping. It hit its target with pinpoint accuracy, proving beyond doubt that this wasn't just some experimental technology. The Avangard wasn't a prototype. It was ready for deployment. What made this test so significant wasn't just the distance or the accuracy, it was the speed. The Avangard reached hypersonic speeds of Mach 27 during its flight, making it clear that no existing missile defense system could react in time to intercept it. Think about it. A missile that moves so fast, even the most advanced radars and interceptors are left powerless. For military planners around the world, this test wasn't just a wake-up call. It was a nightmare. The implications were immediate and far-reaching. Until that point, many had dismissed hypersonic weapons as overhyped or years away from being operational. But Russia's December 2018 test shattered those assumptions. This wasn't a weapon of the future, it was a weapon of the now. The test sent shockwaves through military and political circles, particularly in the United States. It highlighted a critical gap in missile defense systems and forced nations to rethink their strategies. The Avangard wasn't just a new missile, it was a game changer, one that could redefine global power dynamics. Could it obliterate New York? The Avangard, traveling at speeds of Mach 27, would strike with unprecedented force. If it carried a nuclear warhead with a yield of 2 megatons, hundreds of times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, the devastation would be unimaginable. Within a radius of several miles, everything would be obliterated. Skyscrapers, homes, infrastructure, all gone in an instant. The heart of Manhattan, one of the most iconic cities in the world, would be reduced to rubble. But the destruction wouldn't stop there. The shockwaves from the blast would ripple outward, collapsing buildings far beyond the initial impact zone. The force would be so great that even structures designed to withstand earthquakes could crumble. And then there's the heat. The explosion would generate temperatures so high that everything within its reach would be incinerated. Cars, trees, even steel structures would melt under the intense heat. And let's not forget the radiation. A nuclear blast isn't just about the explosion. It's also about the long-term effects. Radiation would contaminate the air, water, and soil, making the area uninhabitable for years. The health impact would be devastating, with survivors suffering from burns, radiation sickness, and long-term illnesses like cancer. Then, there are the secondary effects. The sheer force of the explosion could trigger minor earthquakes, further destabilizing the region. Fires would break out across the city, fueled by the debris and destruction. The emergency response would be overwhelmed, and the city's infrastructure, power, water, transportation would collapse. Now consider the broader implications. New York isn't just any city. It's a global hub for finance, culture, and politics. The economic impact of losing Manhattan would be catastrophic, not just for the United States, but for the entire world. Stock markets would plummet, trade would grind to a halt, and the ripple effects would be felt across every corner of the globe. And then, there's the question of retaliation. A strike on New York would almost certainly trigger a massive response from the United States, potentially escalating into a full-scale nuclear conflict. The global stability that we often take for granted would be shattered in an instant. How does the U.S. stack up? When it comes to defending against advanced missile threats like the Avangard, the United States faces a daunting challenge. For decades, the U.S. has prided itself on having some of the most sophisticated missile defense systems in the world. But the arrival of hypersonic weapons, especially one as advanced as the Avangard, has exposed significant gaps in those defenses. So, how does the U.S. stack up? And what are they doing to catch up? The backbone of America's missile defense is the Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense (GMD) system. It's designed to intercept intercontinental ballistic missiles (ICBMs) mid-flight during the portion of their trajectory that occurs in space. GMD uses powerful ground-based interceptors located in places like Alaska and California, aimed at neutralizing threats before they can re-enter the atmosphere. But here's the problem. GMD was built to counter traditional ballistic missiles that follow predictable, parabolic flight paths. Hypersonic missiles like the Avangard don't play by those rules. With their ability to maneuver mid-flight and their extreme speed, hypersonic weapons can easily evade GMD systems. Then, there's the PAVE-PAWS radar and the Spy-1 system, both crucial elements of the U.S. missile detection network. These radars are incredibly advanced and can detect missile launches from thousands of miles away. However, they weren't designed to track objects moving at hypersonic speeds with unpredictable trajectories. By the time these radars detect a hypersonic missile, like the Avangard, it's often too late to intercept it. The U.S. is painfully aware of these limitations and is working on countermeasures. One of the most ambitious projects is the SR-72 hypersonic jet, also known as the Son of Blackbird. This aircraft is designed not just for reconnaissance, but also as a potential platform for intercepting hypersonic weapons. Capable of speeds exceeding Mach 6, the SR-72 is being developed by Lockheed Martin with the goal of providing the U.S. with an edge in the hypersonic arms race. It's still in development, but if successful, it could become a game-changer. Another exciting development comes from SpaceX, Elon Musk's private space company. SpaceX has been collaborating with the Pentagon on hypersonic technology, including advanced missile tracking systems. One notable project involves satellites designed to detect and track hypersonic missiles in real time. These satellites could provide critical early warning capabilities, giving U.S. defense systems a better chance to respond to threats like the Avangard. Despite these efforts, the challenges are immense. Developing hypersonic weapons and defenses is a complex and costly process. While the U.S. is making progress, it's clear that catching up to systems like the Avangard will take time, resources, and innovative thinking. The question remains, will these efforts be enough to close the gap before hypersonic weapons become a common feature of modern warfare? Russia's hypersonic arsenal. While the Avangard is undoubtedly the crown jewel of Russia's missile program, it's far from the only hypersonic weapon in their arsenal. Russia has been pouring resources into hypersonic technology for years, and they've developed several other missiles that are equally impressive, if not as groundbreaking. One of the most well-known hypersonic weapons in Russia's arsenal is the Kinzhal, an air-launched missile capable of reaching speeds of Mach 10. It's deployed using MiG-31K fighter jets, which act as the missile's launch platform. The Kinzhal has been used in the conflict in Ukraine, where it demonstrated its ability to strike targets with precision at long range. While it's not as fast or as advanced as the Avangard, the Kinzhal is still a formidable weapon. It's also more versatile, capable of carrying either nuclear or conventional warheads, making it a flexible option for Russia's military. Then, there's the Zircon, a hypersonic missile designed for naval warfare. Unlike the Kinzhal, which is air-launched, the Zircon is launched from ships or submarines. It can reach speeds of Mach 8 to Mach 10, making it one of the fastest naval missiles in existence. The Zircon is specifically designed to target enemy ships and infrastructure, and its speed and maneuverability make it extremely difficult to intercept. Like the Kinzhal, it's been touted as a weapon that can evade even the most advanced missile defense systems. So, how does the Avangard compare? Simply put, the Avangard outpaces them all, while the Kinzhal and Zircon are fast and maneuverable. The Avangard operates on an entirely different level. Its ability to reach speeds of Mach 27 puts it in a class of its own. Add to that its hypersonic glide capabilities and its ability to carry massive nuclear warheads. And it's clear why the Avangard is considered a game-changer. What really sets the Avangard apart is its unpredictability. Both the Kinzhal and Zircon, while fast, follow more traditional trajectories compared to the Avangard's erratic flight path. This makes the Avangard nearly impossible to track and intercept. In essence, the Kinzhal and Zircon are incredibly advanced weapons, but the Avangard is a technological leap forward, a weapon that changes the rules of modern warfare. The global arms race. The advent of hypersonic weapons, like Russia's Avangard, has kicked off an intense global arms race, with countries scrambling to develop their own versions of this game-changing technology. It's no longer just about having the biggest arsenal or the most powerful weapons. It's about speed, precision, and the ability to outmaneuver defenses. And let me tell you, the stakes couldn't be higher. China has emerged as a major player in this race, with its DF-17 hypersonic missile turning heads. Unlike the Avangard, which is a glide vehicle launched atop a ballistic missile, the DF-17 is a medium-range ballistic missile equipped with a hypersonic glide warhead. It can travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 and has a range of about 200 miles, making it a serious threat to regional targets. What makes the DF-17 so concerning is its maneuverability. Like the Avangard, it can change course mid-flight, making it incredibly difficult to track or intercept. China's decision to deploy the DF-17 in 2019 signaled that it wasn't just testing the waters. It was diving headfirst into the hypersonic arena. The United States, meanwhile, has been ramping up its efforts to stay competitive. Companies like Lockheed Martin and SpaceX are at the forefront of America's hypersonic ambitions, Lockheed Martin is developing the SR-72 hypersonic jet, nicknamed the Son of Blackbird. This aircraft, capable of speeds over Mach 6, is designed for reconnaissance and potentially for intercepting hypersonic threats. It's not operational yet, but when it is, it could give the U.S. a much-needed edge in both offense and defense. SpaceX, on the other hand, has been working closely with the Pentagon to develop advanced satellite systems for tracking hypersonic missiles. These satellites are designed to provide real-time data, allowing defense systems to respond more effectively to fast-moving threats. SpaceX is also exploring the possibility of adapting its Starship technology for military applications, potentially revolutionizing how hypersonic weapons are deployed. The growing importance of hypersonic weapons in modern warfare can't be overstated. These weapons are redefining the battlefield, rendering traditional defenses obsolete. They're fast, unpredictable, and capable of delivering devastating payloads with pinpoint accuracy. For nations investing in hypersonic technology, it's not just about keeping up. It's about gaining a strategic advantage that could tip the balance of power in their favor. As more countries join the hypersonic race, the global landscape is shifting. It's no longer a two-horse race between the US and Russia. Nations like China, India, and even smaller players are investing heavily in this technology. The result is an arms race that's faster and more unpredictable than anything we've seen before. The question is, where does it all lead? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, hypersonic weapons are here to stay, and they're changing the game in ways we're only beginning to understand. What does this mean for global security? When we talk about weapons like the Avangard, we're not just discussing military technology. We're talking about a shift in the global balance of power. Hypersonic weapons are rewriting the rules of warfare, and their implications for global security are both profound and unsettling. One of the biggest concerns is the way the Avangard challenges the dominance of the United States. For decades, the U.S. has relied on its missile defense systems to provide a shield against potential threats. Systems like the Ground-Based Midcourse Defense, GMD, and the Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense have been the backbone of American security. But the Avangard renders these defenses virtually useless. With its extreme speed and ability to maneuver mid-flight, the missile can evade even the most advanced interceptors. This isn't just a technological challenge, it's a strategic one. It forces the U.S. to rethink its entire approach to missile defense and confront the possibility that its long-standing dominance is no longer guaranteed. The rise of hypersonic weapons like the Avangard also raises the specter of an escalating arms race. When one country develops a new, game-changing technology, others are forced to respond in kind. This cycle of competition isn't new. We saw it during the Cold War with the nuclear arms race, but hypersonic weapons add a new layer of complexity. They're not just about deterrence. They're about speed and precision, which makes them far more tempting to use in a real conflict. The more nations develop and deploy these weapons, the greater the risk of a catastrophic mistake or miscalculation. And that brings us to the most terrifying aspect of hypersonic weapons, the fear of miscalculation. Imagine this scenario. Tensions between two nations are running high, and one side detects what it believes to be an incoming hypersonic missile. Given the speed of these weapons, there's no time to deliberate or confirm. The only option is to respond immediately, possibly with a nuclear strike. But what if the detected missile was a false alarm? Or what if it was a conventional strike, not a nuclear one? The margin for error is razor thin, and the consequences of getting it wrong are unthinkable. This fear isn't just theoretical. Military experts and policymakers are acutely aware of the risks, and they're scrambling to develop strategies to mitigate them. Some are calling for international agreements to regulate the use of hypersonic weapons, much like the treaties that were put in place to control nuclear arms. Others argue that the only way to ensure security is to develop equally advanced hypersonic capabilities as a deterrent. Either way, the challenge is clear. How do you maintain stability in a world where weapons can strike anywhere, anytime, without warning? Can the Avangard be stopped? Stopping the Avangard is no small task. In fact, it's one of the biggest challenges the global defense community has faced in decades. This missile, with its hypersonic speed and unpredictable flight path, is designed to outmaneuver and outrun every existing missile defense system. The first major issue is that current missile defense systems simply aren't built to handle something like the Avangard. Traditional defenses, like the US's Ground-Based Mid-Course Defense (GMD) or Patriot missile systems, are excellent at intercepting ballistic missiles. But here's the catch: ballistic missiles follow a predictable arc, making them easier to track and target. The Avangard doesn't play by those rules. It glides through the atmosphere at speeds up to Mach 27 and can zigzag unpredictably, making it nearly impossible to lock onto. Even the most advanced radars struggle to keep up, and interceptors are left chasing shadows. Then there's the matter of cost and time. Developing countermeasures for hypersonic threats isn't just a technical challenge. It's also incredibly expensive. Building new radar systems, designing faster interceptors, and upgrading existing defenses require massive investments. And let's be honest, these things don't happen overnight. While countries like the US are pouring resources into catching up, it could take years, if not decades, before they have a reliable system to counter weapons like the Avangard. Meanwhile, Russia already has these missiles operational, which puts the rest of the world in a race against time. So, what can be done? One possible solution is increasing radar coverage. Current radar systems are impressive, but they're not designed to handle hypersonic speeds. Developing next-generation radars that can detect and track hypersonic missiles in real time is critical. Satellites equipped with advanced sensors could also play a role, providing early warning and more time to respond. Another approach is to fight fire with fire. The US and other nations are actively working on their hypersonic weapons. If they can develop similar capabilities, it could help level the playing field. The idea is that mutual deterrence, knowing both sides have unstoppable weapons, might prevent these missiles from ever being used. Stopping the Avangard isn't easy, but it's not impossible. The real question is whether the world can move quickly enough to close the gap before it's too late. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.